I'm not going to read the story from here, but I could recommend it to you. And make the anthology, which is my story. It's actually a story it's my first published story, but came out 26 years ago. Yes, that's how old I am. But it's in the voice of an 8-year-old girl, and it's just not convincing for a guy in his mid-50s to do the voice of an 8-year-old girl. Also, it's really bleak, and I wanted to give you a kind of dessert kind of story rather than austere appetizer. So this story's a mere, well, I think it came out 16 years ago, and I probably wrote it about 18 years ago. After first visiting the United States, where I discovered that they had bookshops that stayed open late at night. I remember particularly one in Charlottesville, Virginia, and most famously the City Lights bookshop in San Francisco, which in those days I think stayed open until about midnight. And although it's the book of ghost stories, I think the editor insisted I put it in a book of ghost stories, but whether it actually is a ghost story, I'll leave you to decide at the end. It's the end of the reading. The story lasts 7 minutes, so please don't think you're going to be here too long, but I'm going to read you the whole thing. In the all-night bookstore. The all-night bookstore is easy to miss. Its windows are dusty and display free. There's no sign, no list of opening hours. During the day, it looks like many other shops in the city centre, long closed down due to declining demand. Only its clients know that it opens every night except Sunday, sometime between 10 and midnight. Zelda and I arrive at work by 10. Before opening up, I check the answering machine, open mail, and make out orders. Zelda handles periodicals. I watch her display the magazines and newspapers, putting aside those reserved for individual customers. The all-night bookstore sells books of every size, shape, and category. Ours is the best stocked bookshop in the city. There are 3 floors, 5 if you include a basement used for storage and an attic flat where the owner lives. Neither Zelda nor I have ever met the owner. Zelda hired me, and it's she who makes out the meagre wages that the bookshop pays. Most of our customers are insomniacs. We do get a certain normal clientele early on. Bus drivers coming off duty, people popping in after a visit to a theatre, cinema or a pub. But we try to discourage them by the irregularity of our opening time. The real customers start to come well after midnight. Many live in the city and arrive by foot. Others drive here and park nearby, ignoring the restrictions outside. Taxis come and go. The store is seldom empty. Some customers phone first to see if we have a particular book in stock. People have been known to travel 100 miles, arriving in slippers and dressing gown. The urge to buy a book can be a peculiarly powerful one. And the intensity of these phone calls is a testament to the importance of the service we provide. During my early months at the store, I kept a record of the books most frequently requested at particular times of the night. My results were as follows. 10 to 11. Sports, encyclopedias, car manuals. 11 to 12. Celebrity biographies, film, Russian literature. 12 to 1 a.m. Gardening, Chinese architecture, erotica. 1 to 2 a.m. Rock music, military, ornithology. 2 to 3 a.m. Chess, Icelandic myths, deep sea diving. 3 to 4 a.m. Calligraphy, home repairs, diet guides. 4 to 5 a.m. Meditation, inner being, cookery. 5 to 6 a.m. Start your own business, witchcraft, poetry. 6 to 7 a.m. World history, children's, dream interpretation. 7 to 7:30 a.m. travel, wind chimes, pottery. Zelda is 21, 18 months older than me. She's a student and started working at the bookshop a year before I did, 2 summers ago. Once, she confided in me that she only needs 3 hours sleep a day, all of which she takes in cat naps. Maybe she sneaks sleep when she's behind the magazine counter, I have no way of knowing. I do know that she's blind in one eye, but I can never remember which, as her face is hidden by long, fine hair, the colour of night. As for me, I need a lot of sleep. Sometimes I sleep so long that I'm late for work the following night. Asleep or awake, I dream a lot. Often I dream of Zelda, who I'm in love with, but have no hope of winning. I have no prospects, because I dropped out of university last year, so I haven't told Zelda this. All night I observe Zelda's insomniac admirers cruise the magazine section. She never encourages them, and that encourages me. I'm content to watch my love at work and be paid to do so. My wages are small, but so's the shop's profit. I often wonder how the owner keeps it going. There are many stories concerning the nature of the store's owner. The most common is about a woman who ran the shop with her husband. When he died, she chose to open only during the hours of darkness. The bookshop, therefore, is a kind of shrine. Another story concerns a rich, eccentric insomniac who often needs to find a book in the middle of the night. The insomniac disguises his or herself as a customer. Zelda and I would often speculate about which customer was really the owner. That one, with a length of string instead of a tie, or the other, who resembles an eccentric professor and orders obscure Eastern European journals, or the woman who buys 3 romantic novels at a time, insisting on part exchanging her old ones even though we don't have a second-hand section. In summer, as our night ends, some daylight seeps in from outside. This morning I pull down the shutters at 7 and prepare to close. I nod at Zelda and begin my patrol of the bookshop's 3 floors, making sure that all the customers have left. On the 3rd floor, I always listen carefully for the owner in the flat above, but never heard a thing. Today is no different. Zelda is standing by the front door in her long grey coat. Before I have a chance to say good morning, she speaks to me in her soft, matter-of-fact voice. I'm leaving the city today. I've graduated. You can take over if you want. Hire someone else the way I hired you. I'm too shocked to speak. Zelda doesn't notice. She explains the system for communicating with the owner, a simple matter of leaving notes, banking money, and respecting his or her complete privacy. Then, before I can think of anything to say, Zelda goes. I watch my love walk away, her silhouette receding like a ghost or a vapour trail until it dissolves in the grey city morning. I close the shop and sit in silence, devastated. I've harboured dreams of leaving the store myself. I dreamt of making a name for myself, I've no idea how, then returning to claim Zelda. I sit with my head in my hands while outside life begins. I decide that I cannot work here without Zelda, so I scribble some words on the bookstore's anonymous stationery. Then I go to the 4th floor, resignation letter in hand. I meant to leave the note in a box by the door, but I knock instead. There's no answer. I turn the door handle. It opens. Unbidden, I enter the room. There's nothing there. Slowly, I work it out. There is no owner. There never has been. After sitting in the empty room for hours, I realised what Zelda probably guessed from the start. Nobody owned the all-night bookstore. The store owned us. At the stroke of midnight, I go downstairs, unlock the door, and, while I wait for the first customer to arrive, put a note on the counter inviting applications for a new assistant.